Okay, so this video is going to be a reference to figuring out how to not only XREF something into your document, but also how to scale it with reference to a specific length or size that you need to make a document once you've externally referenced it. I'm going to start by creating a layer specifically for XREFs. So you can either type in layer, or you can click this fun button if you're on 2020 that will open it. I like to dock my favorite toolbars and stuff like that off on the side so that they're really easy to access without typing in those commands or finding the buttons. So this is where you manage all your layers. Currently, you just start off with 0. So I'm going to add a new layer and call it XREF. I'm also going to set it to no plot because for this instance, this is JPEG. I don't want it showing up later when I plot. So if I forget to turn off the layer, it's not going to show up. Another thing I'm going to do is, and this is a good habit, is check the units of my file. So type in units. When you are dealing with plans versus details, plans you should be in feet almost all the time. Sometimes engineers use unit lists. For school and stuff like that, you'll probably stick to feet. Inches is used for creating detailed drawings and construction documents. And this is kind of personal preference on how you view it, architectural versus decimal. We'll leave it at decimal. Okay. We're going to navigate to our XREF layer. And then now we're going to actually externally reference a document. So XREF stands for external reference. It's finding a file and placing it within this file. So externally finding something and placing it in. XREF is the command. Simple enough. Enter. And we want to XREF an image. You can XREF other things. I highly suggest that in the future, if you're trying to XREF PDFs, convert it to a JPEG. PDFs can be a little glitchy sometimes and take up a lot of memory space in your file. So we're going to do an image, and you're going to navigate to wherever you've saved your Canvas given JPEG. Push OK. Then you are going to go through some of these settings. Insertion point, I want that to go to the origin, the very end, just out of convenience. You can specify it on screen if you want to by clicking after you've left this box. Scale, we're going to leave it exactly how it is, and I'll explain to you why. We prefer to control those settings later rather than now, and say OK. So you can no longer see the image. It's been placed in model space. It's so small that you can do two things. You can either type in the command zoom and choose E for extents down here. You can type it in or click it in your bar. The other thing you can do is if you have a scroll wheel on your mouse, if you double click it, it will zoom to the extents of your drawing. So it'll find all the drawn things in your model space and squish them and make sure they all fit in your screen. So we found our tiny little drawing. If I select it, the computer's a little slow right now. If I select it, it tells me how big it is. So it's currently 12 by, what is that, 18 or something like that, whatever it came in as. So what's important is we're going to start off with, it currently says this drawing is 1 to 20. So my favorite resource is a website that's called Arch Toolbox. How I normally get to it is I just do a quick Google search for it. So Arch Toolbox, and it comes up. So the two most useful are these two links. And I always have to remember which one's which. So this is not the one I need. So this one. So these are good tools to check out. There's a lot of good reference material on this website. But we know that our drawing is 1 to 20. We want it to be real life size. So 1 to 1. 1 inch equals 1 inch. 1 foot equals 1 foot. So if we look at 1 to 20, the scale factor, so basically it's 12 multiplied by 20. And it's simple math, but if you can't remember and can't, don't want to process that, then this is where you go. And it gets into the complex stuff like architectural scales as well. But so this says 240. So you take that number and you're going to select your item. You're going to type in scale. SC is also effective. Enter. You're going to choose a base point. So it helps to have a snap-on, just be organized and grab a bottom corner. The 0, 0 origin works. Click. So now you're freely scaling. Then I'm going to type in my scale factor. So specify scale factor or, and then you're going to type in 240 and push enter. So now this is astronomically larger than what it was before. After that, I like to draw either polylines or use the measure command, either one of those, to draw a line anywhere and verify that that's about 9 feet. What else is there? Driveway. So a driveway is about 24. So about 2 cars basically. So this looks like it has been scaled properly. So you find reference to, you know, what's something typical for a pathway or anything that's a known object on here. Unfortunately, this doesn't have dimensions on it. So I'm going based off of this being an accurate scale for whatever size the drawing was. After that point, something that's useful is JPEGs allow you to fade the document. So you can click on it and it brings up some options for you up here. Fade allows you to fade it back some. So earlier when I was drawing a polyline to measure, couldn't really see my line, but now I can see any line work on top of it. Additionally, we are going to verify that this is on the correct layer, which it's on XREF. One thing that's helpful, lock the layer. Lock it and leave it. Then you'll start you'll go to your layers properties box and you'll start adding new layers. Building, oops. Building, then I'm gonna check and go, oh wait, it needs to be unlocked, it needs to be printable. I might choose, based off the CTB file that's been provided to you, a good starting point might be cyan or blue, just as a helpful tip. And buildings have a continuous line type, so we don't have to change the line type. And I'm going to type in, actually, I'm going to do a rectangle. Rectangle, find a middle ground in there, click, and then it needs to be the right angle. So I'm going to do R, enter. If you look down at the bottom, you have area, dimensions, and rotation as options. So R allows me to rotate it while I'm in the command. So I am going to align it to this drawing. And now I know that the rectangle will make it to where all the lines are perpendicular and parallel to each other, which is nice. And I'm going to try and get this as close as possible, and then I can modify it after. So I drew one, now I'm starting the same command, and I'm going to draw another, and go through and trace your building. Just something simple like this, and I just realized I'm on the wrong layer, so that's part of good layer management. Make sure that you're on the right layer, and if you're not, later you move it to the right spot. So currently I'm on XREF, and that's locked, so it won't let me move any of these things. So I'm going to unlock XREF so that I can move all of those items to the correct layer here, building, and I'll go back and lock XREF after I get off of it. So now these are all blue because it's following its layer standards, and I'm going to do trim command TR and kill after selecting everything, of course. And I'm going to go through and kill all of these excess lines in the middle, which I think it accidentally deleted some that it wasn't supposed to, so that's cool. Let's see. The computer is also a little slow since it's recording plus doing CAD. But I'm going to select all of these and use the join command so it makes them all one singular line, and then I'm going to fix the couple of gaps that it decided to mix over here with polyline. And I'm going to choose them all again and do join. J, enter. So now I've got my building. And so you're ready to go and start tracing like this, basically. So you go through this whole process and make new layers for each type of line that you're going to be producing. You're going to have your existing contours and all those kind of things. So you should be good to go from that point for EX2.